Welcome to Business Insights for Everyone. I'm Matthias Glaser, and in this video I'm going to talk about the growth share matrix, also known as the Boston Consulting Group matrix or the product portfolio matrix. The growth share matrix is a framework for managing a firm's product portfolio and is useful in strategic management, strategic marketing, and portfolio analysis. Now, following the agenda, I will first explain the matrix, then discuss its limitations and criticisms, and in the end give an example of how to create a growth share matrix in Excel. The matrix was originally created by employees of the Boston Consulting Group, and the concept was published in 1970. The matrix was extremely popular back in the day, and at its zenith, about half of all Fortune 500 companies used the matrix. Although its popularity is not at its peak anymore, it is still a valuable strategic tool if you understand its limitations. As a result, it is not surprising that the growth share matrix is often taught in business schools and found in strategy and marketing textbooks. The name of the growth share matrix indicates its axis, as you can see here. You plot relative market share on the x-axis and market growth on the y-axis. This creates 4 quadrants. The intersection of the axis divides into low and high market growth and into low and high relative market share. Depending on a product's market growth and relative market share, it will fall into one of these 4 quadrants. Depending on the quadrant, there are different implications for managing the product, such as divesting or investing in the product. The upper left quadrant is called question marks, because it is unclear how products falling into this sector will develop. The market growth is high, but the market share is low. When investing in such products, there should be a good chance that they will become stars, meaning they gain market share. Otherwise, they should be divested. Products in the star quadrant are promising investments that could contribute significantly to a company's future success. Stars are characterized by high market growth and high relative market share. The suggested action is to invest in these products and increase their market share. Later, these stars could become cash cows as market growth slows. Cash cows have high relative market share, but low market growth. The implications are to maintain the competitive position and defend market share. This defensive positioning should make it easier to generate excess cash flow, which can then be used to build other products in quadrants such as stars and question marks. In agricultural terms, the idea is to milk the cash cows and reinvest the cash. The last quadrant is slow in market growth and market share, hence the name poor dogs. The implications for poor dogs are to either divest or reposition. This quadrant is also called pets sometimes. Now, you may have some questions that fall in line with the critique of the matrix that I'm going to discuss. One limitation of the matrix is that it is too simple. Market growth and market share are just 2 of many indicators to predict product performance, and strategic product portfolio management must take into account the complexity of the decision context, such as accounting for a company's resources, core competencies, and external environment. Also, marketing efforts play a crucial role and can turn low market share around. A start might be to supplement the matrix with a SWOT and a pest analysis. I've included links to these frameworks also in the description. In addition, the management implications are simplified to suggest that all products in a quadrant require similar actions. Another issue, as you probably suspected, is the subjectivity of the matrix itself. The intersection of the axis that divides the area into quadrants can be set to arbitrary values. What does high and low relative market share and market growth mean substantially and specifically in terms of values? This is important because it determines the setting of the axis intersection and thus can influence in which quadrant a product falls. As you can see, this is a problem if the values defining the intersection, meaning what is high and what is low, do not have a good rationale. Finally, given the oversimplification and potential subjectivity, product management implications can be misleading. For example, this raises questions such as, what about cases that are very close to the edge of another quadrant? Do they still have the same implications as other products in the same quadrant, which are like, let's say here? Other questions such as, isn't it better to invest in a cash cow and try to dominate the market? Or generally speaking, what about niche strategies with low market share that can still be highly profitable? So the matrix is a valuable strategic tool for thinking about product management, but its limitations are that first, simplification of the relevant factors needs to be considered. For example, by looking at more indicators. Second, the setting up of the axis intersection requires sound reasoning to make the quadrant division valid. And third, implications can be too broad and even misleading. So implications for each product need to be carefully reviewed and implications questioned whether they make sense for that specific product and its current status and prospects. I believe that the matrix is a useful tool for thinking strategically about your product portfolio, but approach it critically and expand and adapt the concept as necessary to derive sound business decisions. Now, let's see how you can create a growth share matrix using Excel. You just need the market share of your product, right? I have several products here and that's the market share. And then you need the market share of, let's say, your largest competitor. And from that, you can calculate your relative market share like so. You just divide those values. And then you already have the x coordinate for the product, right? Then you need to just get the market growth for each product in which the product is active. And this will give you the y coordinate for your product. I use percentages for the values, which is more intuitive. And now it comes to the crucial point where you have to decide for the intersection. So where do the axes meet? Where do they intersect? So because the intersection will divide the quadrants. So the intersection values on the x and y axis should be set to a reasonable value. For example, above average market growth rates could be classified as high. Also, what constitutes a high relative market share needs to be defined. For this example, I have just used arbitrary values for illustration. I used the value of 1 to divide the relative market share into high and low, and the value of 5% to divide the market growth into high and low as well. Finally, you can add other information or indicators to your matrix. For instance, I added sales to determine the size of the bubble, which is a relevant indicator when considering how your product contributes to the overall success of your business. So when you have all the data, for example, we have here, okay, the relative market share, the market growth, and the sales revenue, you just need to put this into a chart, right? And let Excel plot it for you. So if you want to actually plot it like I did in this kind of style, I used, for example, a 3D bubble plot, but you can use any scatter plot, so you get points, right, for your x and y coordinates of the product. And then you only need to specify the data. I mean, I use 3 values here, which are of interest. So there you have the series name, which would be like the product, right? And then the x values, which are the relative market share, and then the market growth. And then you already have your BCG matrix or growth share matrix, right? Of course, you can add then another indicator like I did, which was the sales volume, which is indicated by the bubble size. And that's basically all there is to it. Just make sure that the intersection values make sense, and you have a good reasoning for dividing it like that, right? I mean, here I only used arbitrary values. Right, now we are at the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I try to make business insights accessible to everyone. I also like to hear from viewers, so feel free to let me know what you think in the comment section. Have a nice day and see you next time.